so that we can capture this for anybody else who didn't make the meeting and wanted to know, what is this living in your journal all about? Welcome, welcome everybody. So many of you I know are already signed up for Living in Your Journal. So yay, thank you. I'm so glad you're joining us for this journey. And many of you are here just curious, like, what is this all about? What are you guys doing? What, when, where, how, what, all year? Really? And so I'm going to go over the nuts and bolts of it, but I'm also going to introduce some of our featured artists. Not all of them are here, but I think a good number of them are here, and get a chance to have them share with you in their own voice and hold some stuff up to the camera so you can see what's to come. In the classroom or on the page that I'm going to share in the chat as well for Living in Your Journal, there is on the front page, there is links to their social media, and I will make sure that that goes on the inside of the classroom as well. One thing that I've noticed about Teachable is that once you've signed up for a course, it's hard to get back to that front page. It's not impossible, but it's very, very slippery. It's very hard to get back to that front page. So I will put all of that stuff on the inside as well, not just on the outer shell. Because once you're on the inside shell, all that juiciness should be there as well. So note to self, I will get that in there right after my morning meetings. So welcome, welcome. Wendy Solganik is here with us. Seth Apter is here with us. Allie Manning is here with us. Minette Riordan is here with us. I believe I saw Mary Correa is here with us. I know she said she's in the car driving, so I can't see her right now, but I know she's down on my screen somewhere. Welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you guys are here. So yep, there she is driving. So what is Living in Your Journal? So I designed a class. I designed a journal back in 2013, 2014, that was something small and portable because I needed something small to work in through the month. I was inspired actually by something that I picked up in Target. It was this little box that had 12 individual little notebooks. And I thought, oh, how freaking cute is that? I love that. I wonder if I can, but it didn't quite fit me, right? It was small like this. I needed it to be a little bit bigger, and I needed the paper to be able to receive all the juiciness that I like to put on the page. So it was just regular notebook paper. It was lined notebook paper. So I thought, I want to make something like that. And I want to make 12 of them because that just delighted me. Seeing all 12 of them lined up just sort of lit something up in my brain. I was just like, yes, yes, please. So that is when I designed the Daily Creative Practice Journal. It hasn't always been called that, but that's what I call it now, the Daily Creative Practice Journal, back in 2013, 2014. And I have been living in that journal ever since, and have in-person classes, taught several people how to build that particular journal. And then what I find is that without the connection and community, I tend to, use it and say, oh yeah, that's a great idea. And then it gets tucked away on the back of a shelf somewhere. And I'm like, I'm living in so many other journals, because that's not the only journal that I live in through the year. I have a stack of art journals, right? So, handmade is my preferred method, but I am an equal opportunity journal user. I love the Stillman and Byrne journals as well. So I've got a ton of those that I'm living in. And, like I live in all kinds of journals, but sometimes these little pamphlets, because they're so small, would get tucked away and I would forget about them. But what I have found that is when I work in it in community and I gather together with an intention at least every month and say, hey, how are you doing? Or communicate on a Facebook group and share pictures of like, oh, look at this, this is how I did this spread this month, or I look at how I figured out how to do this thing, or I went to this play and I put my playbill, I scanned it and put it in small, or whatever it is, it inspires me and it encourages me to keep living in my journal, because at the end of the year, this is the treasure. that I get to hold in my hands. And there is nothing like, those 12 little individual signatures that lit me up so much, those 12 little individual pamphlets that lit me up so much in Target. This is not what they looked like. This is the result of intentionally living in and filling and putting, postcards and business cards and pamphlets and whatever, the flotsam of life. This is a great place to put it. Now, one thing about the Living in Your Journal course, I've invited featured artists to come along and play with me, because I love seeing how it's not all about just one person. It's like, how do we all live in our journals? So I've invited 6 other artists to join me in this, and every other month they will be teaching a spread or two or whatever they get to, right, in a 2-hour period. They will be teaching some way to approach the blank page. Now, not every one of us uses this journal as a planner style journal. Many of us do, but there are so many different ways to use this. And so that's why I wanted to get people who are going to use it lots of different ways, because you guys, lots of different people show up and they want to use it lots of different ways. So that is the approach. One of the questions that I get often is, do I have to work in the same structure, the same format, the same journal that you made? And the answer is no. If you've handmade books, you have a stack of them and you want to work in one of them before you make a new one, absolutely. There's nothing saying that there's any magical formula, although I do kind of think it's magical, but that's just me. I think that this size, for some reason, the dimensions of this size work for me. It's not too big, it's not too small. So if you have sort of a medium-sized journal and you want to work along in that, go for it. It's absolutely fine. It will work. It will work. I believe it will translate. Although I believe all of the other featured artists will be working in the Daily Creative Practice Journal. So what else is included is, I love this. I love seeing your faces. I love the fact that I know that you're busy. If you're looking down, you're working on something, your hands are painty, right? Or maybe you're cutting something out, or maybe you're gluing something, or I don't know, you're doing something creative, and there's some collective creative energy that comes with just being together. And I know that this is, together adjacent. This is not like sitting in the same room together, but this is pretty darn good. We get to be together every Monday. I open up a Zoom room, and it is 4:30 to 5:30 Pacific time, which is 7:30 to 8:30 Eastern time. So you do the calculation in between there. 4:30 to 5:30 Pacific time every Monday. Open up a Zoom room. It's not teaching time. I'm not necessarily, although I did show you the tab the last Monday, right? I'm just, you can't take the teacher out of me, but it's not recorded. It is just, it is time for us to get together, connect. And if anybody wants to be like, oh, look at this, look what I did. It's show and tell time. It's, if you've got a question, I had somebody shoot me an email question this morning. What is Jessa the same thing as Mod Podge? And I'm like, oh, no, friend. It's not the same as. So it's a good place to, and don't, like, if that's your question, that is absolutely a legitimate question. I want you to ask those questions because I want to be able to give you the answer. So it's a good time to ask questions. It's also a time where we're going to say, hey, what's the latest Netflix series that I need to watch, or what's a good book to read, and that sort of thing. So it's just fun, creative time. It's being with your people. So that's every Monday. It's, it's not compulsory. If you can't make a Monday, you're gonna be fine. But it's just nice to have that check-in. And if any of you have done the artist's way before, that's a great time to put on your calendar and consider that your artist date. I know artist dates technically are like, take yourself on a date somewhere, but you know what? If that's the best you can do, your artist date every Monday, you're going to be on a Zoom call and you're going to be creating. That fills your soul. It fills the well, which is the intention of an artist date. I say you have Andrew's permission to call it an artist date. The third thing is, I already mentioned before, or alluded to before, we're going to have a monthly class, monthly live Zoom class, and it's just a 2-hour class. So if any of you were with me and Wendy and Allie last year, and 3 other artists, but last year with the Bookmaker Collective, we had epic, let's just call them what they are, epic weekend retreats that were a Saturday night and all day Sunday, and they involved a huge, kit and supply list and all that kind of stuff. And we made like some grand books in that. That was wonderful. This year I am doing not something so grand, but just a 2-hour class. I feel like that is doable. That is, it sort of checks the box of learning a little something new, but not in such a way that you have to block out an entire weekend. And being that it's every month. And again, I wanted it to not have to block out an entire weekend or block out a weekend day, because I know those are precious. So I put them on Friday mornings Pacific, Friday morning, this time right here, right now, which is no coincidence that I had this meeting at this time, because this is actually the time of day that our Friday class will be. It's going to be the third Friday of the month. And third Friday of the month, it's a 2-hour class, and it's led by alternating between myself. So this month it will be me, and next month it will be Mary Correa. The following month, March, it will be me. So it's just alternating back and forth. Andrea, contributing artist, Andrea, contributing artist, and so on. And so that is happening every month, third Friday, 2-hour class. And then the fourth and final thing that is happening in the Living in Your Journal is in the classroom, in the Teachable Classroom. There are short pre-recorded videos of some ideas of how to use your journal, just to keep you inspired. Sometimes, and especially on the last call, people were like, I made my journal and now I just feel like, what next? There's the blank page. What am I going to do? So if you're at that stage and you're like, I have no idea what's next, what to do, go watch one of the videos. They're short. I am a huge fan of the short format. Natalie Kalbach turned me on to that. Creative Jumpstart turned me on to that. The whole format of jumping in and having just like this little 12 to 15 minute video snippet is really doable with my day. I can consume information that way and then let it percolate, let it sort of take root, move about my day, do my thing, and then come back and sit down and be like, oh, I'm going to do that lesson that I watched. I don't have to devote an entire, hour to watching content and then doing. So these lessons that are in the Teachable Classroom, every month there will be new content added to it, twice a month. On the 1st and on the 15th, there will be new video content added there. And so it's just going to be cumulative as the year goes on, that it's going to get more and more robust. So that is what's going to happen in a big fat nutshell, because that took me a long time to go over everything, but I wanted to make sure you guys got everything. For now, I would love to pop over to each of my featured artists that are on and give them a few minutes, number one, to introduce themselves, and then we'll take questions at the end. Number one, introduce themselves, and then just tell us a little bit about how they plan on using their journal this year, and then we'll move on from there. Wendy, would you like to start?
Hi, I'm Wendy. You may know me as Willa Wanders on Instagram, and you may not know this, that when I started that Willa Wanders account on Instagram, it was actually a bullet journaling account, and a hand lettering account and watercolor, but it was really, really heavy in the bullet journaling. And as I transitioned into becoming a full mixed media artist with the help of people like Seth, I attended a live workshop in Cleveland with Seth, and I attended online workshops with Andrea, and I got more and more into mixed media. And then suddenly my bullet journals seemed really boring. And I wanted to keep using that system for planning my life and organizing, but I wanted it to have this incredible like mixed media flair to it. And then I got lucky enough that somehow Andrea, do you remember, like, it was over a year ago. I think I saw that you had this book. I took your online workshop. I made the book, and I immediately fell in love. And I started actually doing what Andrea talks about, which is living in it and actually using it as my bullet journal. So I'm one of the maybe few people who uses it as an actual planner. And I mean, there's not a day goes by that I don't touch this thing 10, 20 times. I do actually live in it. It has my entire calendar. Let's see. It's all the things I do, all of my to-do list, all of my appointments, all of my, things I want to do. And then I get to add all this fun stuff. I add, I made tags and I just want to put it in there with washi tape. And it's so gorgeous. It's so functional. What can I say, Andrea? I love it.
I love the way you work and you live in your journal, Wendy. And for those who are curious to see a little closer up, Wendy actually shared both on Instagram, but I asked her if we could share it in the classroom as well. And I believe it's set up so that you can see that even if you're not signed up for the course. So you can go and look at that, flip through living in your journal. I put the link in the chat so you can go and look at how Wendy, and I think that there's so much flexibility in, you did yours with the days, but you can do, there's flexibility to add to that, to morph it into what works for you. So yeah, I love you. Your pages are just beautiful.
Actually, there is something that I wanted to say. So Andrea is going to give you a tremendous amount of options when you take a course like this. But I really needed this to function as a planner. And so what I chose that worked for me was to take out the option of how was I going to set up each week and each day. So you'll see if you watch that video that every week, the only thing that changes is the artwork. But I set my book up every single week with those 8 rectangles. And I add pictures and fun stuff and, collage fodder. So that's what changes for me. But I use the structure of a monthly calendar, and then every week has its own thing. And that kept it manageable for me because I wasn't coming in every week thinking, how is this going to function best for me? I already knew how it functioned best for me. And what I took away from it is that it is so flipping cute.
Right?
I mean, it's ridiculous.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you so much for sharing, Wendy. And I agree. If you know up front how you want to set it up, that there's something to be said about making that decision and sticking with it and going forward. What I also like to say with people who are just getting into this is make a decision for January and decide just what January is going to be like, and then move on. And
start out like that.
Yeah.
So it started out that I was trying out different formats that you provided, all these different options. And that was great in the beginning. But then once I found something that worked really well for me, I just stuck with it.
Yep, absolutely. Seth, my friend, welcome. Let's hear from you a little bit.
Hey, Andrea. Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for joining me here. And I just want to thank Andrea for inviting me into this. So if you don't know me, my name is Seth Apter. I'm in my home and studio in New York City. And I call myself a mixed media artist. And I have journaled for years and years and years, sometimes really, really well, and sometimes not so well. Just to give you a little backstory about this, one of the things I do is teach classes. And I think it was 2015, I taught at Andrea's amazing store in California. And when I walked in, I saw on her counter, well, I didn't know what it was, but it was this beast of a thing that just looked amazing. And I asked her about it, and she said, this is my journal, and this is kind of how I live in my journal. And I told her then, and or at least in my head, I told her then, maybe I told myself that, I need me one of those. I need to make one of those. And now we fast forward about 6 years, and I took the class and I finally made one of those. I'm going to show you what I've done, but before I do that, just to tell you how I plan to use it. I have a planner that's actually a sort of a standard bought planner, which helps me greatly just keeping track of my life both in art and everywhere else. But one of the things that I did maybe in 2017 and 2018 is I kept a separate journal that was all about my life in the creative world. So I was able to make notes of what I needed to do, accomplishments that I had. Every time I taught a class, I would have all the students sign a page. I would put in like little clippings of things that like I posted on the internet or pictures of art that I made, and I'd collage. And it was actually the most scrapbook-like thing I've ever done. It was a mixed media / scrapbook. So I plan to do the exact same thing this year and get back to that because it's an amazing document to be able to look back through and also to be able to just track what you're doing, and to feel like you're actually accomplishing things, and to reflect back on things you probably wouldn't remember in your art world. So this is, I should preference this by saying, I don't know, you guys may or may not know, I really love boxes. So I always, when I create anything, I'm always looking for a box. So I found a box that I had. It's this sort of old
That's so
faux
perfect.
vintage box. So this is where everything is. I'm going to put a label in it, and it has all my my months, and then it has my covers, and then it has these amazing calendars that Andrea made up that I got with the other class. And then, so this is what January looks like so far. It is, you know, one of those beautiful pamphlets. You'll see it's pretty naked, except for that page there. The rest of it is, you know, backgrounds are in, but really nothing else, because of the way I journal. So I have found over the years that journaling daily will never, ever happen. I just, as much as I would love to wake up and do that, I'm not one of those people. I wake up and go right to social media. So I know I'm not going to change that. So I journal in these periods. So on the weekends, usually I will catch up for the prior week. And, you know, just being real, sometimes at the end of the month, I catch up for the entire month. So not to like pretend that I'm able to keep up, but I do what I can. And I'm really, really excited to start January. This has been a rough few years. It's starting out in a weird way, kind of rough as well. So I'm really looking forward to having this to go to. The other thing I just want to note, again, my boxes, is I can be overwhelmed by the amount of everything I have. So for me, it's really important, even though I haven't quite figured out the style of the journal, it's important for me to have my materials ready. I just don't want to like think, oh, spend 10 minutes thinking, do I get this paint? Do I get watercolor? Do I get pencil? So I just created a box. I'm going to try to show it to you without tipping. So it's a box. And basically, this is my journaling box. This is my kit. And it includes stamps and stencils and pens and tags and rub-ons and just the things that I know lend themselves to kind of a journal. And then I have, you know, one of these little bags that this was my limit of rubber stamps. They're just in there. And now I know I might break out and actually use other things, but this will just allow me to feel like if I have a 15-minute window, I can just grab the box, I grab my journal and I go. So I am thoroughly excited to not only be a part of the class and pop in when I can on Monday. There's Wendy. She's got it going on too. I love that. For those of you who aren't on her screen, she has a box too. Her box is about twice the size of my box, I think, though. But I'm really excited about it. And I know a lot of you already, which is great. So I can't wait to see what you guys do along the way. I see Leslie smiling. Hey, Leslie. I only can see 5 of you, so I can't judge if anyone else is smiling. All right, so that's it. I'll keep quiet now.
No, wonderful. Thank you so much, Seth. And also, thank you for the permission to not keep up with it on a daily basis. I know I call it the Daily Creative Practice Journal. Don't let that fool you into thinking that you have to work in it daily. It is just think of the word daily as every day. It's just your everyday sort of journal. It's just meaning that everyday stuff makes it in there. Not literally every day am I going to that journal, but it's just the place that my everyday life lands in. And so I love that approach that Seth has of catching up on the weekends. Fabulous. That is absolutely a strategy that will work. I think of it also as a filing system. If you think, if you are 3 months down the road and you're cleaning out your purse or your wallet or your car console and you're like, oh, here's tickets to such and such a movie. They don't go in the trash. They can get tucked into my journal, right? It's a filing system. Allie Manning, you're up next.
Hey, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. So it's really interesting. My name's Allie Manning. Sorry, I was going to leap straight. My name's Allie Manning. My voice sounds like I'm from England, which I am, but I am based in Groton, Massachusetts, where it is very, very snowy today. So I nearly didn't make it into the studio, but I did. And thank you for having me, Andrea. I am excited about this journal because like Seth, and Wendy, I like to sort of limit my supplies, but this is going to be particularly helpful for me this year to be able to just limit it to one little booklet a month, because I'm going to be traveling a heck of a lot, which may sound counterintuitive given COVID, but I have to go visit family this year because I haven't seen them for like 2 years. So I'll be like out of the country for like 4 weeks at a time. So this, honestly, I'm not even going to have a box. I'm going to have like a pen case and my little journal. And so I'm really excited just to be able to work with those limited supplies and kind of push myself to, just work with a box of pens. So this is my January. So I have an Andrea type cover from the class. And I've been telling folks that if you haven't taken the original class, the Bookbinder Collective class that we did, it's a brilliant introduction to mixed media, like brilliant. Like if you don't know anything, it's fabulous. So I think that's one of Andrea's superpowers. So here's my Andrea cover. And then I have just gouached inside all of the pages ready to go. Because I really like gouache. I like the Caran d'Ache gouache. So my pages are ready to go. And I used Andrea's idea of taking a tag and creating windows in the tag. So I've put my, I've put 2x3 little windows on some of my pages because I have one of those little mini printers, which I'm going to be bringing with me too. So it's one of those Thermofax printers. Excuse me. So I plan to do a sort of not daily either, but just a what's going on in my life type journal, like Seth was saying. So as I'm traveling and seeing family, snapping pictures, and all the pictures that we have on here, I mean, good grief, just to get even 1 or 2 every week into my journal would be great. I'm also a big reader, so I start off my morning by reading. So it'll be a great place for the quotes that I come across every day, and I like to keep track of. So that's how I will be using mine. That's how I'll be living inside my journal, as a real sort of record of what's going on in the outside world in terms of the photos and what's going on inside world in terms of like quotes and things. I've already added, a pocket, because you can't live without a pocket, right? So already I'm starting to put pockets in here. And yeah, and I also have the calendar. I have my calendar in the back right here with a little pom-pom paper clip, because what would a journal be without a pom-pom? So that's how I plan to live in my journal. I'm just see if there's anything else that I should mention, but I just love this format, Andrea, and I'm really looking. Oh, I did change the binding up a tiny bit. Sorry.
No,
I'm a book artist, so I changed the binding up a tiny bit so that I could put like some beads at the top here. So
fabulous. How
yes,
fun.
it still fits. It still fits in the thingy, but I just added this extra bit because I couldn't help myself.
I'm feeling a version 3.0 coming up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's the beauty of this. It's the beauty of the format, is that it is so flexible and so adaptable that you can make it work for you. Absolutely can make it work for you. Thank you, Allie. Miss Minette Riordan.
Hi, everyone. Happy New Year. Super excited to be here with all of you. Thank you, Andrea, for including me in this. Like Seth, I needed a box, and I found an old Easter decoration box from when the kids were little that ended up being perfect. I have not bound mine yet. I'm in the middle of getting my house ready to sell and have my studios packed. And I packed everything that I might use to bind it. So it'll get bound eventually, but there's something, I love leaving them in the box and looking at them. But last year was my first full year to work in a daily creative practice journal. And I started off with the curiosity of, could I use this as a planner? And with my business planning and life planning, I'm very much a digital girl. So it quickly became a memory keeper for me of highlights and things that I was doing. Like Seth, I will often, prep several pages at a time and then go back on the weekends or sometimes at the end of the month and look ahead or look back in my calendar and say, okay, what happened this week? But I think what I found so surprising and is the magic of Andrea in the process is that I worked in it all year long. Like every signature has something in it. Not every signature is full, but every signature was started and begun. So Allie said it really well, that just the process of creating the signatures ahead of time and all the techniques that Andrea taught us really cemented that opportunity. I super appreciated what Wendy said about having fun with the background and the art, but keeping the writing space really simple really appealed to me as well. So I also love that no two of them is alike. And so I wanted to just share, here's some pages from last year. I ended up tucking in lots of things, like here's a lovely card that Andrea sent me in the mail, pictures from a walk. This is an envelope full of notes and goodies that people sent me. I also had fun. My creative project this month was palettes. So here's one of my own photos and some other greens that I collected. So I used it that way. I had a ton of fun in November with just gratitudes every day, and it really forced me to touch in. So I think the flexibility of it is something that I love. I shared a video of where I am for January in the Facebook group, so that's there already. But I'm excited about adding in the pieces from other teachers that I haven't thought about, like documenting my creative practice. So Allie mentioned a printer. I have a Sprocket that was my Christmas present last year. And I love my little HP Sprocket printer. They're the perfect size for these books. And so all throughout the year, I would print out sometimes pictures of my art, and they're sticky backed photos. So that to me is my favorite part, is they're sticky backed. It made it really easy to get the photos out of my phone in some place where I'm actually looking at them. So those were some of my favorite things from last year. And I'm going into this year with just a lot of curiosity about what's possible and what do I want to do differently. So to me, it's a fun way to think differently about the way I normally approach an art journal. Like Andrea, I work in 4 or 5 books at a time. So for me, just staying open to curiosity and never feeling the need to complete the project, never feeling the need to fill out every page. Andrea gives us so much permission for that flexibility. So those are some of the things that I'm super excited about. And in April, I will be the teacher for April and have some fun ideas for what I'll be teaching that month. And we'll look forward to seeing you guys in the classroom if you decide to come and join us.
Thank you, Minette. Journal. I'm just answering Terry's question in the chat. And let me remove the spotlight, change back to gallery. My friend Mary, are you in a place where you can share just a little bit verbally? I know you're driving. Go ahead.
Well, actually, I passed the driving over to my cohort who's with me. So, but I did turn off my video just because we're in the middle of nowhere. We got rerouted off of the highway.
No problem.
So I am Mary Correa. I live in Lakeland, Florida, which is pretty much smack dab in the middle of the state. And I'm a mixed media artist and instructor. And I was so excited to be part of this project. One of my first interactions with Andrea was about her journal, I think 2 years ago, that I basically like drooled all over it on Instagram and told her how yummy it was. And so last year I was one of the participants in the Bookmaker Collective. And I was so excited to see that we were making the Living in Your Journal book at the end of the year. So I'm even more excited to be part of it and be with you guys this year. So I've thought a lot about how I wanted to use the journal. And I am the day planner kind of girl. Like I have to have my list and my stuff, and it's yucky and there's Post-it notes. So I didn't want to use my book for that purpose. So I've decided to use mine as kind of a time capsule for my creative year. So I want to, right now my plan is each month I'll have a different theme. So if there's one month that I want to focus more on sketching, then my book is going to be full of more sketching. If I decide to focus on collage, it may be full of that. But I've never had a snapshot of my creative year so I could see what I did from beginning to end, because I work in a lot of different journals. So that's what I'm most excited about, is that I will be able to see, oh yeah, I remember now in January I really wanted to sketch, something from my daily life every day or things like that. So I'm really excited about that. I'm excited that I'm going to be February, well, excited and nervous because I'm your first guest artist. So you don't have anything to compare me to other than Andrea, but I have to be the first to go. So, but I just finished working on the stencil that we would get in the club, which I'm very excited about. And I have a lot of good ideas. I will tell you that I have given myself the diagnosis of art ADD. So right now, I think I have like 15 ideas that I want to share with you in February. So I have to narrow that down because I don't believe we have a 3-day workshop for me to share it all. But right now, I am excited about flip ups and tip ins and mini books that might be in the book and all kinds of things. So you will get my crazy art ADD version of a journal. So I'm just really excited to be here with you guys if you choose to join us, and we'll have a great year together.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Mary. I love that creative time capsule. You said that last time we had a meeting, and that really resonates with me too, because it is at the end of the year. You guys, I have a whole shelf of these at the studio now. There's one up there too, but just to be able to hold this brick size memento of your year is such a treasure, whether I filled it out 25% or 95% or 5%, it's still an attempt at capturing my creative year in a container. And so, yeah, so much fun stuff. And how could I forget? I don't think I mentioned that the happy mail that shows up in your mailbox, I totally forgot that's a benefit as well. When you sign up for Living in Your Journal, what will show up in your mailbox is not something you actually have to order, which was the difference between last year with last year with the Bookmaker Collective. I did huge elaborate kits that you could order, different levels of them, basic and deluxe and super deluxe. And those are fantastic. Don't get me wrong. I love doing those, and I will continue to do courses that have those attached to them. But Living in Your Journal, you don't have to order a single thing unless you want to, of course. I still have supplies. But what will show up in your mailbox every month, rain or shine, is going to be a custom something. And most of the time it's going to be a custom design stencil. If you're already signed up, you've gotten my January one, or at least it's en route, because I stick a stamp on it. That was the thing. I needed to keep costs down low. I stick a stamp on it. And this month's stencil I've already used a ton. So let me see if I can find one that's not all painty. Here's one that's not all painty. So this is this month's stencil. It has some numbers, and it has a really fun bulleted sort of bullet list part. And then these look like snowflakes, but I use them as color wheel things, because I'm doing colors in the month of January as well. So that absolutely goes it comes right to your mailbox once you sign up for Living in Your Journal. And yeah, Happy Mail is fun. You know, who doesn't love something just showing up in your mailbox? Like, wait, did I order something? Oh, how exciting. It's something to open up and look at. And so if you join us, that will happen automatically. If for whatever reason you decide, yeah, this isn't going to work for me, but I want to have access to those stencils, will actually be available to order after the 15th of the month. So they're exclusive to our members, to our participants up until the 15th. They're just going to show up, but after the 15th of the month, then they will be available for outside ordering as well. All right, let's see. Do I have any other, is anybody else here? Let me just scroll down through. Melissa is not here. Okay, open up to questions or anybody who has lived in their daily creative practice journal from last year who wants to share. Tamara, go ahead.
Hi, thank you. It's Tamara. Might as well get comfy with each other since we'll be together all year. I have two questions, so hopefully you don't mind sticking with me for a minute. I haven't been getting my emails in. It's a problem on my end. I'll be fixing today. So I wanted to know, is this Zoom link we're using right now, the one for all the workshops and the training, is it all going to be this Zoom link?
Yeah, I'm keeping it simple.
Okay, sorry, that probably has come through in emails, but I didn't get it. Also, I was wondering, that fabulous carrier case that you made, I'm in love with, is that part of this class, or is that going to be its own little separate thing?
It is not part of the class, but if you are in Living in Your Journal, I'm going to be sending a discount code. And I know a couple of you who are in Living in Your Journal have already signed up, and I will honor the discount code for you too. So I'll be sending a discount code out to you guys to sign up for that. What she's asking about is, I have this, it's on the other side of the room. I'll grab it. I have this painted canvas carrier, which is my daily creative practice, daily creative on the go is what I call it. And it opens up and it holds my monthly signature and a bunch of stuff. So this is sort of like the concept of the box of having just what you need, not too much, not too little. And I'm working on version 2.0, which is going to have some structural differences here. And, you know, more that I painted this probably 6 years ago. So it'll have, you know, more current Andrea painting on there. But that is live on January 30, but it's also going to be, everything's recorded, and it'll go, all the recordings will go in the classroom. So if you can't attend live on January 30, all the recordings will be available afterwards as well. Thanks for asking. Tamara. Anybody else have a question? I will email those, Karen. So yeah, do make sure that your emails are, if you haven't gotten emails from me, then check your junk mail, because I do send them. I do send them. And so far, it doesn't look like I'm getting bounce back. So the reports that I get, I use Flowdesk for sending my emails through. And so far I haven't, you know, it's 100% of what I send gets delivered. So.
Andrea, Sherry asked a great question about saving space in journals for class.
That is a great question, Sherry. I would save at least one spread. Because the class that we have each month is the third week, if you just count in to your third spread and earmark that one to save that one for the teacher, or the fourth one, or right, you can save one spread each month. Now, if you don't do that, you can work on a separate piece of paper that's the same size as your spread, or something maybe a little bit wider, because, you know, you can absolutely tip something in and that will work as well. But the intention is that we want to teach you a way to approach a blank page in your journal. So yes, that's an absolutely fantastic question. For the recordings of Allie's same day. Allie's retreat and Andrea's live class are on the same day and time this month, the 21st. Yeah, mine will be recorded. Go to Allie's retreat. Yeah, mine's recorded. It's a 2-hour class. It'll be fine. I would go to a retreat over a 2-hour class any day. Awesome. Any other questions? How do we get, okay, that one I've already answered. Anybody do Daily Creative Practice version 1.0 last year and live in your journal this year and are excited to do it again? You want to hold anything up? Tell us, unmute yourself and tell us what you learned last year living in your journal and what you hope to get out of this year. Oh, crickets. You guys aren't
I'll
making
do
it.
mine, Andrea.
Okay.
Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
Hold on a second. So this is my, start my video. This is my last year's. And what I did was I did twice the size just because I wanted to. It was a little daunting, I have to admit, but I painted something in all of them all the time. Sometimes I write. I put in pieces of jewelry that I like, right? Just some jelly prints that I did. I tipped them in, or some sketches that I did. I just tipped in random pages with washi tape. Is that what you were after?
Yep. Absolutely. Now tell me, I'm fascinated with twice the size. How did I not know that you did twice the size? Did you just keep it? You just did a regular manila folder and didn't cut it down, or what?
I used 9x12 watercolor paper, so kind of expensive.
Oh yeah, that would have been.
Yeah, and I was just gessoing from your other class, from the Creative Jumpstart. I feel gesso challenged, so I didn't mind using the watercolor paper, but yeah. I mean, I like the big format, but I like the little format too, so.
Yeah, well, here's the thing.
Original one, right?
Oh yeah.
That's the first one I ever did with you.
That was a couple years ago, right?
Yeah, like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
But you can see all my little tabs. I still refer back to it because there's things in there I don't want to forget. So yeah, and I go back and forth between putting the days in there, as everyone talks about, using it like a calendar, versus just doing art in it, making memories. This one has a whole bunch of things I tipped in it from my trip to Greece because I hadn't finished it out. So there's like plane ticket stubs, and there's a thing there, and all those little tickets were from things that we did in Croatia. And I'd like to keep those things, and it's a great record. And I also like to solve painting problems, things I'm trying to work through in my journal. So I would say I haven't solved how I want to use it yet for this year, but I love having it. I love it very, very much.
Fantastic. I love hearing that because again, it gives permission for, you don't have to have it all figured out to jump in and just try it and do it, and you'll figure it out. You'll figure out what works for you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Minette, for sharing that. The Uniball Air Micro, Minette is sharing what works on writing over acrylic paint. I'm getting a lot of what works on writing over gesso, because the grittiness of gesso is like sandpaper for your pen. So if you're writing directly over top of gesso, you will find that the nibs will wear down really, really quickly. So there's some good suggestions there in the chat. Sherry, go ahead.
I'm not in my craft room, and I overslept today, so I'm not going to get on camera, but I'm here. I just wanted to share how I use mine. I've been with Andrea. I think this is my 6th year that I've done this. I actually found my cover, like the one that you just had too. But I tend to wait till the end of the month, print out all my pictures for the month, and then put those in first. And then, so it's more like a scrapbook for me. But then around that, I also, during the month, I make, like at the end of the month, I make like event, I have like event days. If I went for an event, then I have a spread of the event. And then at the end of the month, if I have extra pages, then I usually fill them in with art. or I take pictures of the art that I've done for the month and put them in. And I've enjoyed last year. I really enjoyed all the tip-ins and all of the the bookbinding things that we added into it, the extra pages, all of that was so much fun. And I'm looking forward to learning from the other teachers and also more from Andrea about things that I can also add to that. Also, last year I did some collaging, it which was something new other than putting pictures, and I also did some collage. That was fun. Anyway, I just wanted to share.
Excellent. Thanks, Sherry. Yeah, Sherry's probably the one in here who's been doing this with me the longest. Those are our local people. Before I did this online, I would do this every year. It would be like a yearly ritual where we'd get together and make our journals. And I used to have everybody gesso in the studio, so everybody would have like the table, everything spread out. Oh my goodness.
And covered head to toe in gesso.
Covered head to toe in gesso. Anybody else? Any other questions?
Andrea, maybe you could speak to just how this is different from some of the other year-long programs that are out there.
Absolutely.
For me, the live part is so attractive. That's a big part of it.
Yeah, absolutely, Minette. And we've definitely had that conversation before. There are a lot of year-long programs out there that have a lot more content, And it was I crafted this very carefully. Number one, I did not want to overwhelm you with too much, because I think that there is a tipping point where too much content is too much. You're just not going to consume it. And also a lot of that content is, a lot of the year-long programs offer, all this is pre-recorded and you can do it on your own time schedule and all of that. And that's great. And that's wonderful. But I know myself. So I designed this program for myself. I know myself. If I know I can get to it someday and I can do it on my own schedule, it's always going to get pushed back, and it's always going to get pushed back, and it's always going to get pushed down on the list of priorities. And so having the live component gives you that gentle accountability to show up and see other faces and be a part of a community who is happy to see you and be able to say, hi, Debbie, hi, Sally, hi, Terry, hi, Jody, hi, Janet, I'm so glad to see you. Drora, I'm so glad to see you. And if I didn't say your name, it's not that I didn't mean to say hi. I'm looking at the bottom of my screen. So, you know what I mean? There's that certain personal connection element that I found it very important to include in a program that I built. And I also, again, I'm holding myself back from giving you guys too much content, because I've been teaching this for a long time and I have classes upon classes upon classes that I could be dumping in there, but I do not want to overwhelm you, because there is such a thing of having too much that gives you overwhelm, and then you just don't know where to start or what to do. So having the personal component, I found was very important. It made a difference for me when I would sign up for a course when it had a personal component, and not giving you too much to overwhelm you. And surprise mail, come on, like who doesn't love? That's the part I'm most excited about. I'm already designing my March stencil, and I was excited to see Mary's February stencil design come in today. So I'm excited about that. And it's not always going to be stencils. I know some of the teachers may design collage sheets for you or something else, original artwork that you get, some other stuff. So if you're not a stencil person, don't fear. It's not always going to be stencil. Not 100% of the time is it going to be stencils. Maybe just 95%. But anyway.
I got mine yesterday, Andrea, despite giving you the wrong state.
Did you notice that I scratched it out and put the right state? Okay.
I need a journal to keep track of where I live, apparently.
It's so funny. Lisa just moved to Oregon from here, and she put her address as still California. I'm like, yeah, wishful thinking. I know. I wish you were still in California, but I love where you live too. So, Terry asked, is it too, if there are people are still on the fence, is it too, can people still join? Yes, people can still join. That was another big thing for me to decide, like, oh, am I going to close enrollment? Am I not? And while that may not give people a sense of urgency at the beginning of the year, I'm going to keep enrollment open. And what will happen if people decide to join in April? They will have access to all the recordings. What they've missed is all the live connection. And then when I do the mailing for May, they will get the January, February, March, and April stencil in their May mail. Does that make sense? So I will catch them up. Best way to contact me, I will put in the chat. Here is, first of all, here is the Teachable link to the course. I will also say, I just want to give a shout out to our featured teachers. If you came here because of one of the teachers, please, please, please go look for their affiliate link and sign up using their affiliate link. Wendy has one, Seth has one, Mary has one, all of it, Minette has one, all of the Allie has one, all of the teachers who are my featured teachers. If you came here, if you know about this because of one of those featured teachers, please, please sign up using their affiliate link. It gives them credit. It gives them credit for you signing up. So yes, so make sure that you do that. And if you fear that you signed up and didn't give them credit, please email me, and I'm putting my email address in the chat right now. Okay, work of heart at gmail.com. And Carissa just asked me, let's see, that was a direct message. I will. I have 2 memberships. So just in case, there's a lot of crossover. A lot of you are in both of them. So I have one that's also called Watch, Learn, Play. You'll see me posting a lot of my daily creative practice. I post because it's content for my Watch, Learn, Play membership. And Watch, Learn, Play is a place where I just, whatever art project I'm working on today, whatever is on my desktop, I work on that. And it's not necessarily in the constraints of this daily creative practice journal. And so Watch, Learn, Play is a completely different membership than Living in Your Journal is living in my daily creative practice journal. So I keep those separate. The content is separate in both of those. So that was a question. Although I will say it may, on the Monday call, because my Watch, Learn, Play membership people are invited to the Monday call as well as my Living in Your Journal. So it's just this big mashup of everybody I love in the creative world. So you may hear some people that are only in Watch, Learn, Play, and then people that are only in Living in Your Journal. And you guys will get to meet each other, and you'll get to say, oh, you're making cool stuff too. So. All right, we've got two more minutes. Any other questions? I'm not needing to run out the clock, but I'm sure there might be one lingering question out there. Margaret, do you have any kittens running around there? Margaret just took my last 2 kittens.
I do. They're flying around off the walls.
Precious little one.
They are so sweet. Thank you.
Lynn asks, I am completely new to this and have signed up. What is the best place to start as far as what materials are needed? That is a great question, Lynn. I don't think I have a supplies list in Living in Your Journal. That is something that I should add in there, just to suggest here's a general supplies list of the things that I use. I will ask the teachers also to maybe give me, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to ask the teachers, and those who are on here will get a heads up. Give me a picture of your supply box and just like hey, this is what I work with. That way you get sort of a cross section of what a lot of us who live in our journals work with. Stamps, stencils, markers, that sort of thing. So I will link that up. So thanks for the suggestion. Thanks for the question. because your questions always help me improve and add something where there's holes, right? So that was clearly a hole. So thank you, everybody for.
Andrea, can I ask one other quick question?
Sure, Sue. Yeah.
Sorry, that's my dog. I know that there's lots of videos about what people have done as their samples. Is there any chance of getting some still pictures of some of the people's work? Because it's hard to, when you're whipping through it, it's hard to see it.
Yeah, we can work on getting that's a great suggestion as well, getting a gallery.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
Fabulous. Okay, I've got my work cut out for me. Wonderful. All right. And so again, welcome to those who are already signed up for Living in Your Journal. Those who are on the fence or just curious about what it is, I hope you join us because we are a fun group. Lots of creativity flowing this year, and looking forward to a full year of Living in Your Journal. And again, you can pop in the Mondays, ask questions. You can always email me. I put my email address in the chat. It's aworkofheart@gmail.com. And the Facebook group is a great place to share the still photos as well. Sue, take a look on the Facebook group because I know that there are some still photos on there as far as what people have been doing on their pages. And that I think is it. That's a wrap for today. We're just a couple minutes over, and that is it. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.